following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Welcome. You're listening to Community Centered. I'm your host, Debbie O'Hanley, with my freezing friend, Margi Kyle, on this very cold Tuesday. How
I'm
are
used
you?
to this
I know. This
weather.
is your kind of weather, I think. My blood is way too thin for
This
being
is a
in the
heat
South.
wave in Toronto.
Oh, my Lord. This is cold. Way too cold. So cold that the internet is out.
I
So
know.
this show is the first time you and I are recording. Normally we go live, but this is going to be a recording due to no internet.
And it's just not here. It's all in the area, apparently.
I think the whole area is out because
North Carolina is frozen.
I think finally we froze and shut down. We shut down the internet. So, Miss Margie, how are you? What's going on in your world?
Well, it was my husband's birthday on Sunday,
Bless.
and his family became my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had 3 cousins and a husband. And we just have had more darn fun reminiscing
How fun.
and talking and just telling stories. And
That's the best way to
Yeah,
celebrate.
it was.
It truly is.
And I had 2 of the gals staying with me, which was fun too, because we could get into our jammies,
Love it.
have the fire on, and just talk.
Giggle.
Yeah.
Just like you did when you were a kid, right? Just giggle. How wonderful is it? No better way to spend some cold
Yeah.
time to just snuggle
Yeah.
up with a fire with your
And
good
it's
friends.
so nice that they've come from Toronto, London, Ontario, and Seattle, Washington.
Wow. So from all over.
Yeah,
You have a little international girls club.
I do.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That sounds like something really fun. Well,
And one of the gals flew to Toronto this morning. She got up at 5, and then she's flying all night to Ireland, I think it was. So-
nice. And I understand you girls did some shopping to stimulate the
Of
economy here in
course, of
lovely
course.
Cornelius.
We've got to, help our community.
That's amazing. Where were you shopping?
Well, our first stop, since 2 of the gals that live in Canada, was Coco Couture's.
Nice.
And we all put a major dent into the economy there.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's too bad we're not live because you are looking fabulous as always, and your friend and cousin is equally as fabulous. And I'm jelly of her beautiful
I kept
jacket
looking
that
at
she
that
got.
jacket, and I thought, well, it's too small for me.
Yeah, no, sometimes
Because I
it's
was going to scoop it up.
you should have. It's beautiful. It really is. So congratulations on the fun time shopping. Anything else you did for fun?
Well,
Go to
just
dinner?
going out for dinner.
Nice.
Yeah, we went to Firebirds one night, and then Sunday night. And today we had to go to the Apple store, so we went to Bonefish Grill.
Okay, good for you. Nice. So you're over in Birkdale. You
And
know,
then tomorrow night we're going to Hickory Tavern for the musical bingo.
uh-huh. Listen, you girls are on the prowl. I know it's hard to keep up with you. So as long as you're dressed warm and having a good time, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I think that's wonderful that you get a little self-care and some connection in there.
Yeah.
And with family and friends, it's always just a good reminder the first of the year how much you are loved.
It was so appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was good medicine.
it is.
That's
It's the
awesome.
best.
So yesterday we had the inauguration. It went on, and I think at 11:30 my husband finally shut the TV off, and I think they were still going to balls, and I kept thinking, Lord, how does that woman walk in those shoes from 8 a.m. until it was 11:30 at night? She was still doing the stiletto thing. I'm
Yeah.
thinking her feet had to be numb. They had to be numb. But I think she looked lovely with her hat on and her elegance. She's
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
people were comparing her to Jackie Onassis, which I don't think it's fair to really compare people. We have our own style, right? But it was that, and then our MLK Day. So I know a lot of people were off of work,
Yes.
and not much traffic around, which was lovely
Yeah.
to be driving around. I don't know what a day off or a holiday looks like because Hollis doesn't take a break. We
Yeah,
are 24/7 all the time, and This cold weather has really triggered the phones to be ringing off the hook. People really getting almost aggressive with take us in and the emails that have been
Well,
coming in.
absolutely.
I know the warming stations are open in Meck County, and I know that, churches are probably doing their best to keep folks warm, but I hope that our neighbors in need have found some shelter
That's
somewhere
right. I
and
hope so too.
are being safe, because this is the kind of weather that could really turn tragic if people are out in it. So give it, when you're cold, just think about them, how much
Yeah.
colder it
Yeah.
could be, and just be grateful for what you do have.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And it's our attitude, both of us, is when you're having a hard time, when you help somebody else, you feel so much
absolutely,
better.
absolutely. I know it's hard to be happy and joyful and uplifting in this cold weather, because we're all just like, got to get home or got to get somewhere warm. But just, even if you could offer up your prayers or your thoughts to folks that are struggling right now, that would really be helpful. That would be doing
Yes.
some good. And that's what we're all about here on
Yes, we
Community
are.
Centered. I know without our live feeds and everything, we want to give a shout out to the McIntosh Law Firm for their sponsorship. Mr. Bob McIntosh and his crew of lovely attorneys. And I
Yes.
think we have a guest coming up.
We do.
Okay.
Next month.
Okay. And
We are totally booked for February.
I'm telling you, we are on fuego, on fire here on Community Centered. People are lining up to be our
Yeah,
guests.
Ada Jenkins next week.
Okay, awesome. And I know we have a great guest today with
We
North
have
Meck
two.
Rotary,
Yep.
and a guest slash friend slash cousin slash person who can give us some information that I am very much interested in and looking forward to hearing about. So I know we're going to go.
She's an end-of-life doula.
Fascinating. I have played with the idea of becoming one myself, so I would love to hear what she has to say.
Yeah.
We are going to go on break here shortly, and when we do, people always miss the best conversation when we're on break, because that's when us girls do a little chatting without the mics on, and good stuff
and
happens.
say some really weird things.
We do, but you know what? We save it all for the live to get our act together and be professional. So when we come back from break, we are going to be chatting with Julie Jones, who is the president of North Meck Rotary. And I didn't get Diane. What's her last name?
Denyse Burns.
Denyse Burns, cousin slash friend slash fashionista slash end of life doula slash a lot of other things that we're going to be hearing about. So we look forward to seeing you when we come back from break, and we will fill you in on all the details of what is happening without internet in our
Well,
world.
For some people, that's the end of their world.
Isn't it crazy how dependent we are on
Yeah.
it? It's like our oxygen or something. And for me, I'm like, hey, I'm done. That grant is just going to have to sit.
Well, we went to Big Al's for lunch yesterday, too. And I was watching families. All the kids were on their phone.
Oh yeah. It's a scary thing. Like, people start jonesing when there's no internet, like they're shaking. What are they going to do without their phone and the internet? So we might have to play a board game or talk to each
Okay.
other.
Well, we are.
So we will. When we come back from break, we are going to be talking with our friends and learning a whole lot. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome back. I am here with my husband's cousin, my best friend, and my family, Denyse Burns from Toronto, Ontario. And you are an end-of-life doula.
Yes, I am. Practicing as an end-of-life doula for about 5 years now, 5, 6 years, and I have a focus on really advanced care planning. So how to make sure that you have a good death,
Yes.
and that's where I spend a lot of my upfront time, and then I work on the back end with grief counseling as well, and working with the families and their, well, I guess siblings and parents, whoever's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is really a good death? I
Right.
mean, I know
Yes,
that my husband was extremely happy with his.
Right,
I mean, how can you be happy? But
but
he had enough time to plan everything. And thanks a lot to your help.
well, thank you for that. I think that, well, the good death is what it could be anything for anyone, but what it really is about choice and control.
Okay.
So the more you think about it ahead of time, and people have this, they don't want to talk about death. They're death phobic. They refuse to talk about it. So, and people don't want to talk about what could happen. You can only have a good death, and really a good death is usually pain-free, having the people around that you would like to have, having involvement with your spiritual side. So there are it means a lot of things to a lot of people, and there's a lot written on it. It just said to Margi, it was quote, got this one particular author of that wrote The Future of Healthcare of older people, but I like to take out older because all of us, we can die at any age and we should be planning for it. So, and they were talking about what is it? And they asked a lot of people on that. And so one is really that really hit me is to be able to leave when it's time to go and not to have life prolonged pointlessly. And I think we can all identify with that one because we've all had loved ones who have been sitting in palliative and hospice, or I see it a lot with especially with the Alzheimer's and dementia clients that, 8, 9, 10 years are just, it's no life. So, but we can have some control over that if we think about it in a plan, and there are ways that we can do that. And so that's important for someone. It's the spiritual and the emotional. For others is where to die. A lot of people want to die in place, die at home. So again, that's a good death for them. And people will strongly say that I don't want to leave my home. And I think that you can identify with that.
Yes, very much so.
And so, and having your dignity and privacy. Now, people say, well, that's nice to say, but you can do that. You can advance care plan for that. And you can tell people, share it with your family members, talk about it. But because we don't talk enough about it, we aren't prepared. And so we see people at the last minute that they're not going to have the opportunity to have a good death. And they die sometimes in a painful way, and it's not how you want to remember your loved ones.
Yeah. The other thing we've talked a lot about are some of the things not to say.
Oh, well, that
could be its own show, I think.
Yeah, that is
And
its
it
own
has
show.
been. We've done
and we
that.
could probably have call-ins on that one about that. And one of the things in my research and when I talk to people, and we'll see this at any reading you'll do, be careful of using the at least intro to your sentence. And that would mean at least he's in the...
Yes, and the first thing when I went out after Lee died was a friend of mine said, well, at least he's in a better place.
He's in a better place.
And I said, that's funny, I'm not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she
And
said,
you know,
well,
like-
I'll never use that
No.
again.
Yeah.
And we'll respond by saying, well, maybe you think it's in a better place. For me, my better place is that my person, my husband, my daughter,
Right.
my son, my significant should be here. That's
Yeah.
the better place.
Yeah.
Right.
So we don't know where these cliches kind of have some more cliches, but at least they are no longer suffering. At least they've lived a long and good life. It's almost as though we've said, okay, you've been here, but now you can go. And the one that's very hurtful, and I don't work with a lot of pediatrics, but at least you have other children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
How awful.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that is these are said very, and for people like now they're end of life doulas. Just on a little sidebar here for pet lovers, because people and their pets are that when you lose a pet, and so they'll say, well, at least you can buy another dog.
Boy.
So, I mean, it's sort of like flippant, but it's one of the main things that we'll say to people not to say. And also, with that, when we're talking about grief and grieving, remember to think about the person. People say, well, I really don't know what to say, or I don't have the right words. And you can, just saying what you feel in your heart rather than I don't know what to say. People want to hear something. And one of the ways to do it, if you're doing it with a note, thinking about you, and add to that, you do not need to respond. Because people think, oh my God, I got another thing to do. I'm dealing with death now. And so the do not respond is important. And some of the cliches I just wanted to go over, I know we're short of time, but you've all heard these. Time heals all wounds. Everything happens for a reason. I want to know what that reason is. I'm still wondering. And so that it does sound hollow and
it does.
impersonal. And so, and people don't know what to say. They'll say, well, it's hard, that you lost somebody. Well, just tell them, It is hard. I love you. I'm thinking of you. And
Yeah.
those are the words that we need to think about.
And I've lost a lot of friends
Yeah.
in the past couple of years. And even if you just say, I'm here for you,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you need to talk, I'm here anytime to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And really think about
And we were talking about what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
They don't know.
No.
You don't know.
So don't
Right.
ask them what you can do. Offer. Just
Yeah.
sort of say, I'm going to the grocery store. I'll pick up something for you. I'll drop a parcel, or I'll drop something off, or I can take your laundry, or I can have somebody come and help
I'm
cut your
making
lawn.
some soup.
And
I've
then,
got
yeah,
some for
so
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't have to decide. And I think that's important. And remember to talk about a loved one.
Mm.
We did it this weekend.
We
But
sure
take
did.
a walk down memory lane. You know, usually when you get
Nice.
together with family and friends around, somebody has left. And this past Christmas, we were doing some work around that. How do we bring up the loved one that's not here in the room? Well, tell stories, share memories. You know, it's the elephant
We had
in
a
the
lot of
room.
laughs.
Yes, we did. We did have a lot of, and so just as a wrap up to this, I think remember that what we do for a newborn. There's birth doulas and end of life doulas, and we're not very different, other than that we help the newborn and then we help the person dying out. But when there's a newborn coming in, people all rally around, bring food, bring help, offer to babysit, do
That's
all
true.
these things, and they continue to do it for a long time. And it's the same, I think, at end of life, that people
Yeah.
sort of remember that it's not a one and done, because grief never ends.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, well, when are you going to be over this? When are you going to go out and have some? And when are you going to start dating again? Or, well, whoever it is. But
Somebody asked me
it's-
that 2 weeks after Lee had passed.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
What does doula mean? Is it like a coach or what does
It's a
that
Greek
word?
word.
Okay.
That is sort of a helper, a person that assists and whatever, a healer in some ways. But it's a Greek word, comes from the Greek word. Doula.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was mostly known as midwives, birth doulas, yeah. And that's what they do. So that's where it comes from, the Greek originating word, helping somebody.
If someone were listening and they wanted to reach out to find if there was a resource in this area, where would they go for that information?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that probably there's the INELDA, which is the International Doula Association of America, and they could just go End of Life Doulas Association.
Yeah.
And then you will get, you'll go to that website and you'll ask for doulas in your area, Huntersville, Lake
Yeah.
Norman, North
Okay.
Carolina, Charlotte, and you'll have a list, as we have the same association in Canada.
Okay.
Also, you might hear about them from a hospice and palliative care,
Mm-hmm.
what have them, and so it's a very good question. And they're becoming more and more, but we're very new. We're advocating a lot. People don't know about us very much, but we offer, a lot of services. But that's how they could reach one, yeah.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for what you do. I think it's a beautiful skill and something really special.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Very
Thanks
special.
for having
thing.
me.
Well, thank
Well, I
you.
thought it was going to be a little warm, I just have to say.
Yeah, well, you Canadians.
No, well, that's what I came for. A couple of days in
define
January.
warmer
Yeah.
when you're Canadian.
I'll take 50.
Yeah, and normally it is that, and
Yeah.
That's
probably
right.
next
Yeah.
week it will be that. But this is a very unusual Arctic blast that we're having that's keeping us all inside, and there's a lot of sickness going around too.
Right.
Folks are really complaining about being sick. So you know what? Maybe we just need the internet off and just to kick back and stay
Right.
inside and read a good book, like the beautiful book that Julie brought for Margi, the Henry Nouwen Bread for the Journey. It's a
Yeah.
lovely devotional, and I've seen it myself, and it's he's such an eloquent writer,
I
and
cannot wait to start reading
he
it.
can really really fill your soul in a time when you really could use it. And what a lovely thing to
Yeah.
bring. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that. And when we come back from break, we're going to be talking with Julie Jones. Margie's going to introduce her, president of North Meck Rotary. Rotary does amazing things. We've had other presidents of Rotaries on here, and everyone has their own style and their own things that they support and everything. So I'm curious to hear about North Meck because I'm not that familiar with them. So I am anxious to hear when we come back from break all of the good that you are doing in our community, with or without internet.
We're still doing it.
Yes, we sure are. And thank you for that. That was lovely to learn about what you do and what you bring to your community. I think hats off to you.
Thank you
doing
so
that.
much.
I think it's
Well,
fascinating.
it was a huge help during the process.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and it was a huge help for Lee because he could really talk very openly.
Yeah, and just, and that is the thing. I think if anybody leaves just this few minutes we had to talk about it, is just use this as an intro to introducing death and dying, and just say, I heard this radio show, and they were talking about advanced care planning, a good death, and what to
Yeah.
think about.
End
And
of
it's a
life
nice
doula.
intro. Yeah, a nice intro to
Stay
have
with
at your
us.
parents.
Beautiful.
We'll be back in a minute. That's the longest 15 minutes. Welcome back. I'm here to introduce a friend, and I proudly can say I'm now working with you with Rotary again. I joined again last week. Julie Jones, welcome. It's such a good thing to have you here and sharing all the good things that Rotary does in our area.
Well, I thank you for inviting me. This has just it's been lovely so far and such an honor to hear our last guest.
Good.
Thank you. That was
Yeah.
nice. That was nice.
Well, comforting for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we have our meetings Wednesday at noon at the Peninsula
We
Club,
do.
but there are several other clubs around the area. What are some of the things that North Mecklenburg Rotary has done in the past that makes you stand out and part of this community that we all enjoy living in?
Right. Well, I have been asked before, why Rotary?
Yes.
Why Rotary?
Okay.
And honestly, I can say because it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
And that's probably my number one reason. Several years ago, someone asked me why I joined Rotary, and I said it's to meet men. And
And that worked.
And it worked. And it worked. But it's really made up of a community of members who really care about this community
That's
and
right.
the world. And the world.
Talking about death, my father on his last few hours said to me, I want you to take this very seriously. When Rotary lets in women, I want you to join.
Right.
Because he was a Rotarian from day one.
How long ago was that, Margie?
I joined, I think, about 14 years ago.
So there weren't women?
There were not.
No, it
There
was
were
a men's
not.
group.
It was a
Yeah.
men's club.
Okay.
Cornelius has had one of the first women presidents in our district was a member of our club. North Meck Rotary was one of the first
Okay.
to allow women. Now, I don't think at the beginning they knew exactly what to do with them, but but they soon found out.
Yes.
We have
Probably
some
became the
amazing
secretary.
women. Yeah, probably made them secretary. But we have some amazing women who are leaders in our community who are in our club.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Well, it's just such an honor to work with like-minded people.
It is.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And even within the like-mindedness, there's a tremendous diversity. We celebrate that, and we make that work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We totally make that work.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rotary is old, actually.
Very old.
Very
yeah.
old, very old. It started, I've got some notes here. It started around 1905. It started with 4 people in Chicago who did different types of work. And they decided to meet, and they decided to do their businesses putting service to others above themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's our motto, is service above self.
Yes.
Service above self. And so, like, they were, like, one of the first projects that Rotary did in Chicago was comfort stations. And these were because they didn't have public toilets in Chicago in 1907. And so that was one of their projects.
Wow.
And now Rotary is
Man,
worldwide.
we've come a long way.
We have come a long way. And so now Rotary has 1.4 million members worldwide.
Wow.
We are everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
We are everywhere. And also for different ages. We now have Rotary for young people ages 12 to 18.
Oh, my
for
gosh.
college age students. And I'm
Nice.
going to talk about that
What
little later.
distinguishes the different here in Lake Norman? Because there's a few different groups. Is
There
it just
are.
meeting time that's different,
It's
or
yeah, pretty much meeting time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have, I believe, the North Meck Rotary Club was probably the first one in the Lake Norman area, and Huntersville Club meets at breakfast. We meet at lunch.
Yeah.
There's several in Mooresville. There's one in Davidson that's like a happy hour club, and so and we do things together every now and then. We'll do some projects with other clubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And partner with them, and that's always fun.
yeah,
That's
I
always
bet that's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. But Rotary has done some amazing things just in our community, but also worldwide. And probably the biggest project that Rotary has taken on was to eliminate polio
Yeah.
in the world.
That's
Really?
right. Yeah.
Okay.
There's only one other virus that's been eliminated, and that is smallpox. And with polio, we have gotten really, really close. We only have cases now in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and they're very few. But and at the Gaza Strip, they begin to see a few cases there just recently. But it pretty much has been something that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has partnered
Okay.
with Rotary International, and they actually match our donations 2-to-1, I think.
Nice.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know
And I
that.
remember someone asking Bill Gates, why is it that you chose Rotary for this project? And he said, because they get it done.
That's awesome.
Good reason.
You're a
Exactly.
well-oiled machine.
We are.
Yeah.
We've been around a while, and it's a pretty big organization.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one of the things that makes that really interesting and fun is that if you travel somewhere, you can pop in a Rotary Club somewhere else.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And visit, and
Yes.
you are welcomed immediately. And we have people from time to time visit from other areas.
Nice.
We have people who pop in and say, I'm a Rotarian in, I don't know, wherever, New York or Florida, and I'm thinking about moving here to get closer to my grandkids, which seems to be why a lot of people move here.
Yeah.
And they pop in and say, when I get moved, I'll be back.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's kind of nice to have that community waiting.
That's
for you.
right.
Is there a cost associated? Do you have to join?
There is.
Okay.
There is. Our dues, I would say roughly, it runs somewhere around $1,200 a year, approximately. Don't hold me to the exact penny. And the biggest portion of our dues goes for meals.
I was going to say lunch.
Lunch at the peninsula, It's not. There are some clubs that are less than that, just because their meal cost or their meeting room cost is a little less.
And it's every week.
It's
not
every
just
week.
once a month. Wow.
We used to have a minimum attendance requirement. We don't have that anymore, and you can visit other clubs, and it counts towards your attendance. And you can even do a makeup online if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
We have that ability too, to
Yeah.
go to our website and take one of the makeup.
If there was a website to go to when there was internet,
When
right?
there was- yes, exactly.
Oh, we're
exactly.
going way back
Yeah,
here.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
So give our listeners an idea of what a meeting looks like. Like what
Oh,
happens?
Good idea. Well, we have a little bit. People will start coming to our meeting about 11:45,
Mhm.
and they'll connect and talk
Yeah.
and chit chat and catch up, and then we have a pretty hard start at 12:15. Between 12 and 12:15, they'll get their food and go through the buffet line, and then we start exactly at 12:15. We have an invocation. We have a pledge of allegiance. We do some announcements. We talk about some projects that we have coming up, and we have a speaker just about every week. If we don't have a speaker, it's because we are doing a project at the meeting, which we
Gotcha.
do occasionally. And so we will have a speaker, and it will be someone from the community, someone representing a nonprofit. You should come.
I
and
should.
speak to us. You should come. You should come out and speak to us. And some of the programs are humorous, and some are difficult because they're talking about hard things. And then we share a session called Health and Happiness, where
That's
we just share
fun.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of light. and then we have a hard stop about 1:15.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then so people who work, they've committed for an hour and 15 minutes and then go back to work.
Yep. It's fun.
It is.
That's a
It
nice
is.
break in your day.
It
too,
is.
It
you
is a
know,
nice
in the
break.
middle of the week.
And again,
that's
with
nice.
like-minded people that are all thinking
Exactly.
the same way.
Yeah. Lovely.
Exactly.
Service above self.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We're going to get ready to take another break, and we have to get our sponsorships in there. So when we come back, I want you to share with our listeners, how would someone get in touch with you or find out more information about the club, or some things that you might be supporting this year, or what you're doing, or how you join?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would
Absolutely.
be super fun. And wait for Margie to invite you to come with her to one of your luncheons. But
Correct.
yeah, that would be awesome. So when we come back from break, we are talking with Julie Jones, president of the North Meck Rotary Club.
Thank you.
We'll be back shortly here on Community Centered with your hosts, Margie Kyle and Debbie O'Hanley. Welcome back to Community Centered. You're listening to Debbie and Margie and Julie Jones, president of North Meck Rotary. And before we went to break, we were going to find out, how does someone get in touch with you?
Site, they can go to North Meck Rotary, Meck, M-E-C-K, rotary.org, or they can show up on a Wednesday
Oh, you don't have to
at
be
the
invited.
Peninsula Club.
Okay.
Come a little bit before noon,
Okay.
and there's a welcome table there.
Yeah.
And two people usually man it, and they will welcome you and kind of give you the ins and outs and match you up with somebody who can answer your questions.
Nice. Okay.
Very
That's
friendly.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What else are we going to talk about with Rotary?
Well, I wanted to talk about a little bit about the demographics of a Rotary Club, because we kind of have all ages in our club, which is really great. Historically, I think I will just go ahead and put it out there. I think historically people saw Rotary as being something for older people,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah.
maybe just men. And that probably was accurate, some time ago. And what we found is that people in their maybe 60s and up, what they like out of Rotary is to meet once a week with their friends and enjoy a nice lunch and catch up. And that's available. And
Yeah.
that's there too. That's part of it. We find that people between 40 and 60 in that age group, they are interested in making their community a better place for their children,
Yes.
maybe grandchildren.
Mm.
The 20-somethings and 30-somethings, they are out to change the world.
Yes, they are.
And they are rolling up their sleeves. And we have every age group in our club, and it's just wonderful to see the camaraderie between these different demographics. And so it really it makes it really cool when we're doing projects, because we have a lot of people who can roll up their sleeves and get some things done. And
Plus, they know how to do an Excel spreadsheet.
plus they know how
They're
to
very
do an
good at that
Excel spreadsheet.
technology stuff.
Absolutely.
So
That-
you need a
that
good
is-
millennial
that is
around
helpful.
to help you.
Like some of the things we've done just in the last year or so, we've supported the Cane Center. There's now a little
Yes.
playground for children with musical instruments there.
I think that's fabulous.
It is fabulous
nice.
for the Cane Center. And if you ride around town, you will see these park benches near the bus stops.
Yeah, and you did
in
that
various
too. Yep.
places. That was something that the North Meck Rotary did. Let's see, our club did the Rotary Plaza, which is right in front of Town Hall, near Town Hall, to support the
yeah.
Veterans Monument.
Mhm.
That was Rotary. Besides the things we do for polio and in the world, we have done 3 projects since the fall just for Western North Carolina.
Oh, I bet.
We sent a group up there
Yeah,
to work. I think it was last Saturday,
it was. Yeah.
and that was pretty wonderful. We support one of those projects that we did for Western North Carolina. Is we shopped specifically for, I think it was 55 children, and purchased their Christmas gifts, wrapped them, delivered them, thanks to the help of Margi Kyle here. Little Smiles helped us out a bunch with that project, and
That was fun.
That was amazing. And we've done that for many years,
Nice.
and that just so when I say it's fun. There's nothing more fun than putting on a Santa hat and going to Walmart and shopping for kids and having races to see who can find the best deals and the fastest. And,
But then it was even fun just wrapping all the
and
gifts.
it was fun just wrapping the
Yeah.
gifts. And I'm sure the group that delivered had fun,
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
a trip up to the mountains together. So now these things that we do, they take some money over and above what our dues. Our dues, would not cover that. So we do some projects where we raise funds for these, activities. And one of the ones that we have done for several years is we have a golf tournament in the spring. And this year it's we have a date in May. If you go to the website, you'll be able to get all the details for these. But we have a golf tournament that we sponsor. We also we had a poinsettia sale
Yes.
right before Christmas,
Yeah.
and we had fun doing that.
Yeah. Santa was there.
Santa was there. Santa was there, and we had kids come in, and they got to write a letter to Santa and then sit on his lap, and
Nice.
they had their letters so their parents could go home with it, that was probably really helpful because sometimes
I'm
parents
sure.
don't know what they tell Santa. But anyway, another thing that we're going to do this year is later this spring, we're working on a pickleball tournament.
Oh, good.
I know that should be really fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of a new thing for us, but we have some expertise with the golf tournament, and
Yeah.
we have good people helping us with it.
So is Robin and Jack's place going to be open by then?
In the spring.
It's
No.
not.
It won't be ready
not.
for
We have a location that we're
a backup plan.
we're about 90% there with it.
Okay, that sounds like fun.
But if you go to the website, the northmecrotary.org,
Mm-hmm.
you will see all of that. So anyway, that's pretty much what we do. Is we do projects. We work at the Habitat store about one Saturday a month.
Yeah.
We work. We help and volunteer at the Cornelius Neighborhood Care Center, which is an amazing place. I noticed that you
That's
had
our friend
Manny.
Manny.
Oh,
Yep.
Manny. Yes.
Yeah, Manny is an
He's
honorary
amazing.
member of our club.
He is a servant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we are doing this year is our project for this year is to buy the care center, the neighborhood care center, a cargo van
Oh, wow.
because they haul a lot of electrical cable.
Mm-hmm,
They pick up food to distribute. They pick up bicycles and bicycle parts, and they have a lot of single moms who move often, and they need that cargo van. And so that's our project. Our big project this year
Nice.
is to purchase a cargo van for the neighborhood care center. We're working really hard to raise
I
money.
bet.
And the other thing that we've done this year, and we had our first meeting last week, and I'm so excited about it. Rotary, I talked about the demographics of a Rotary club, but Rotary has options for college-age students and high school students.
I think that's fabulous.
That's very
So
cool.
the college-age students, their club is called Rotaract, and it's just like it's like a Rotary club, but it is for college students. And then for ages 12 to 18, our club is called Interact, and Interact, the name came from International in Action. Interact.
I love that.
And so we have starting, we're not quite there yet. We had our first meeting last week. We are starting an Interact club at the Neighborhood Care Center
Great.
Oh,
for
fabulous.
the middle school and high school students there. Because one of the things that we find in when you do projects for someone else, when you help someone else, it builds leadership.
Mm-hmm.
It builds servant leadership, which is truly the only kind of leadership that
Mm-hmm.
that has longevity.
That's right.
Yep.
And so my goal is to have that Interact Club at the Neighborhood Care Center, that it will be open to other people in the community. I know that there are 6 or 7 different church youth groups that meet from time to time with the care center.
Yes.
So any
Yeah.
any person between the ages of 12 and 18 in the Cornelius area that wants to be involved, they need to message us on the northmecrotary.org, or they can get in touch with me personally. They can come on a Wednesday and pull one of us aside.
Yeah.
And that, my goal in that is to see one of the young people at the Cornelius Neighborhood Care Center come through Interact and show up one day at that North Meck Rotary meeting at the
Wouldn't that be
Peninsula.
cool?
And we have a fabulous person on our board, Herman Bruno, who is taking that on, and he's, oh goodness,
Yeah.
he's great. He is very talented and very gifted and very tuned in to those teenagers.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That sounds like a whole lot of hope on the headline.
Yeah. Oh,
I
it
think
is.
that's
I'm very excited about it.
very encouraging to know that the work that you do really impacts the community in so many positive ways.
Yep.
And not forgetting about our children and not forgetting about our youth. That's important because they've had a rough couple of years.
Well, they need direction
Yes,
too. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
They have.
And with COVID, I think they needed a little direction. So thank you for giving them a place where they too can serve and be a part of
Well,
something.
Yeah, there are some great organizations like the Neighborhood Care Center and Ada Jenkins, and we partner and support them as well. We want to, I mean, we're not competing against other nonprofits. We
No.
are there in total support of the nonprofits. And many years,
Well, we know that
yeah,
with the wine spectacular and everything
Absolutely.
else. And you guys had
Absolutely.
a golf tournament and
we're all
sponsored-
on the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all on the same team.
I know. Yeah.
We're all just trying to do a little good, Margie.
That's right, trying to do a little
Just
good.
trying to
But
do
I
a
just
little
know that
good.
years before the Neighborhood Care Center, I did a program for Parents' Night Out for children in the Cornelius downtown area, and it changed my heart.
Yeah.
It changed my
does.
heart.
It does.
It can.
And so when this opportunity came along and I had to pick a project for the year, there was no question.
Yeah.
There was no question what it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was going to be something that the care center needed.
That's lovely. I appreciate that because I know Manny personally, and he is just
incredible.
he's an extraordinary
he
person
is.
in this community, and he just is so humble about what
yeah.
he's doing. So I would imagine he's equally as humbled, but in his Manny way, probably really stoked about
yeah.
being your
He-
head cheerleader.
Well, and when we had our meeting last week, I can tell you we had 12 young people show up at the very first
oh
meeting.
yay!
And the talent, the energy, and the young people that I saw in that room, I thought these young people are going to change things.
They'll fix your phone too. They're good. They're good to have around. We want to thank you, Julie Jones,
Absolutely.
and Miss Denyse Burns and Margie. As usual, this has been fun.
Good.
And thank you for bringing your fabulousness once again. And I wish you the remainder of the week good friends,
Thank
good
you.
time,
Thank you for
good
having me.
family, and enjoying yourself.
We are.
And stay